I always say to an actress, if you haven't been, this is going to sound really funny, get a mask. No, I'm very serious.
I do.
And take a walk around and actually, because when you do a panel, you know, because we're all working, and I don't know, most of us, it seems to be our first week of shooting that we're all going down there.
Yeah.
You have no time. Like, you get rushed into your panel, you come out a backside, you never actually see the main hall, and it's pretty amazing.
Huh. So you get like a character mask?
Yes, so that no one knows it's you.
I was like, you want to fit in?
You get a mask with your own face.
What's really funny is I went as Maggie Q. Crazy.
I went as Buffy.
It's really incredible just to see, even just for 20 minutes.
So Sarah, did you put on a costume and go in? Is that?
Possibly.
No way.
What did you?
She can't say.
That was like 10 years ago.
What about? Will you be?
Said it was 10 years ago.
Are you going to be doing the same costume this year?
I'm not gonna have time this year. I think I'm actually gonna have to work that day. I think I'm gonna have to come down and come back up and finish working. So we'll see.
Eddie Kitsis and Adam Horowitz are the showrunners, and they're really inclusive and really collaborative. So it's been a lot of asking us what we think and how we feel. And I mean, certainly they make the final decision, and they're creating the storyline. And Adam and Eddie have had, when you sit down and talk to them about the show, it's as if they've watched 6 years of it already. Like it's in so much detail of how all these worlds cross over and how these fairy tale characters exist. So it's incredible to listen to the detail with which they've already thought of all of it. But in terms of like the little details of who they really are and their pasts and how they react to things, like they're very inclusive, which is so different for me, because on House it was very much like, here's what you do, and you just listen and do it. So on Once Upon a Time, it's been sort of like, oh, you want to know what I want to wear? Okay. Here's the pictures I was thinking.
Speaking of what you want to wear, I have the important question.
You're like, I just haven't had this collage.
Wait, if you're in the real world, does that mean you never get to wear the fairy tale outfit?
Well, someday I think I will end up being in fairy tale. I am full-blooded fairy tale.
You are,
but
okay.
I have just lived in reality my whole life.
That's a bummer.
I know.
I'm gonna be in fairy tale. I'm gonna live in the real world.
That's so
I am the
cute.
child of Snow White and Prince Charming, I'll have you know. So. I am the child of Snow White and Prince Charming.
They have sex?
They got married, so it's okay.
It would be better if it was like Prince Charming and like Aurora from like, it was like some like Florida fair. Yeah, like a total Florida fair. I don't think they allow that though.
He-Man and I don't know, the Little Mermaid.
Oh, no.
That would be a difficult bird.
That'd be a water bird, I think.
I think the interesting thing with genre-specific television is that the writers are really the people that you have to rely on, because I mean, I don't know enough to create, witches or whatever your specific show is geared towards. And so for me personally, like, going into this show, it's strange because I have no idea what I'm saying on a regular basis, so it forces you to be more sort of vocal with the writers and with the creative process, because
I'll teach you the trick to that.
Will you, please?
The trick is, in any of these like worlds, whoever says it first makes up the name.
Yeah.
So no matter what it says in the script,
That's a good one.
if you say it first, everybody else has to say it.
Yeah.
And because everything's made up, it's really hard to remember sometimes. So just try to be the first person to,
That's great.
like, even if it's not in your dialogue, work in the name of whatever the warlock is for that week, and just claim it, make it your own.
I like it.
That's, yeah.
It's such a huge thing now, social networking, and I think that they've showed that it really contributes to numbers and fans and whatever, and it just gets the word out there. So people are really into it, and I'm trying to embrace it, but it's really scary.
I think in small doses,
Yeah.
it's okay.
I was like that at the beginning. I was scared of it too, and then I was peer pressured by my other cast members to have
That's what
a Twitter
happened to me.
account.
Same thing. They're like,
So
what do you
I
mean you're not
finally
on?
did
I'm
it.
like, you don't understand. You don't know me. I barely answer any mail. I don't Facebook. I have no clue what that is. MySpace, none of that. I have no idea. I'm the worst.
No, I think actually I take that.
Are you? Are you the worst?
I
I'm
take
the worst.
that.
I'm the worst.
I think it's the one thing for me, coming back into this world that's I have to embrace and understand now, is the whole social networking media, because it's an important part, and it's a way to get out the really important parts of your show and to include your fans and to be inclusive. At the same time, I'm an incredibly private person, and I have a family, and it's hard to sort of figure out what that balance is.
That's kind of, I originally was totally freaked out by it, and then I was doing a play in New York, and the producers had asked us to start accounts so that we could reach out to fans and say like, hey, if you let us know that you're going to be here, we'll come upstairs afterwards. And it really worked. It was really actually quite a cool thing because people would send a few messages and I go, okay, so I'll come upstairs tonight. And then you'd see them all and be like, oh my gosh, and it was like an immediate way for them to feel connected. And then I got freaked out because I was like, it felt like all this pressure from the way people were responding of like, you need to send pictures, and you need to this, and you need to aggressive. And then I realized like I just had to let that go, and I just was like, I don't put anything personal. I don't let it infringe on my personal life. I really try to just keep
people need to
informed of
that.
stuff
They
that
need to
is a part of the show or the movie or whatever I'm doing at the time, so that they feel included and they feel a part of it, but not like give up.
Can you do like a general? Like I think it'd be fun
You
to
can do
have
generals.
like. I
That's
think,
what
like
I was doing.
but I was gonna say to have like a ringer one where like where the
They
different
already
cast
have
members.
that. They already have that.
But see, I told you I'm the last one on this train.
Or it's a good way to update, like if you're in a magazine or like what press, so you go, hey guys, check out this issue of whatever, or
I'm like taking notes.
I'll tweet all of you after this.
Narcissistic. You know what I mean? It can be very like sort of like. I just don't think there's any balance in only reading positive things. I don't think there's any balance in like, I remember before I was on Twitter, my co-star, was looking at, his Twitter, and everything was like, you're so hot, you're so amazing, I want to do you, I wish I was your girlfriend.
He wrote him to himself.
Yeah, from his mom.
What would you say is the biggest challenge or the biggest frustration of working in the TV business? Right
The
now?
hours. The hours, 100%.
Unless you're doing How I Met Your Mother. That was hard.
There was one why they can do comedy.
One thing that would kill my ambition, it would be if they offered me to do How I Met Your Mother for the rest of my life, because I would say yes. The hours are just fabulous, and it's the most fabulous group of people. But yeah, no, the hours on a drama are just...
Because I worked with the same producer you worked with for Buffy, for my show, and we were talking, it was like 6 months in, and I wanted to kill myself, and...
Buffy the Weekend Slayer?
Right, and so 6-day weeks, and just like, and when you're the lead, you're screwed, like completely screwed. There's no...
Did I mention I'm playing twins?
So we were talking about Sarah, actually, because one of the producers worked on Buffy with her for many years, and he was like, he said, well, Sarah had the same thing. It was like burnout, like to the point where, and it's just like being jet lag is different than being tired. Mm-hmm. You cannot fight through burnout at all. No. It's not about being tired. It's about you're screwed. And when you're, again, the lead, it's impossible. So he said, well, I remember there was a time where Sarah was like, you have to help me out here. I'm dying.
And he did.
So because it was magical, your show, they were like, well, there was this show where we turned into a rat.
I turned into a rat. And we did it many times, actually.
We turned into a rat, and she'd make an appearance, for the episode, like, as herself, and then she'd be a rat. And I'm like, that's genius. He's like, so what I'm trying to say, Maggie, is we can't ever do that with you. Because it's not a show. Our show's reality-based. So
you could surely get hit in the head and go into a coma.
You would think, right? You'd
get abducted.
Or do that to myself. And they'd have to write around it.
Purposely break it like.
Don't think that's across my mind.
That's the one thing I'm grateful for, is that I don't have the stunts anymore. Like in the pilot of Ringer, I was the one that got knocked down. My entire stunt was getting knocked to the ground. And the producers and all the directors, they were all so nervous. They wanted to bring in a stunt double. They wanted these pads. They wanted a special floor. I'm like, guys, it's a fall to the floor. Like, what, are you joking? They had so much precaution. And normally, you always wonder when you're doing a big stunt show, because there's like no precaution. And you're like, this is dangerous, right? You guys know that, like. And then you always know it's bad when the ambulance is there waiting before the stunt, and you know that you're not supposed to be doing it, and that's why it's waiting there.
Or the fire department.
Yes. And when we did this first fall to the floor, everybody literally thought that I had invented the wheel. I was like, I didn't know how to. It was really hard. I'm sore. Do I get a massage after?
You're like, it's on an action show for 7 years, right? 7 seasons.
So yeah, I didn't need to tell them. Don't tell them.
Yeah.